It's a 4:30 wake-up call this morning, and we're headed back to Lima. We had breakfast and then on to the airport for a fairly uneventful flight, and arrived around 9 o'clock. We're at the hotel by 10:30. Today is a free day to do whatever we want to do, so we headed down to the Miraflores district to just do some shopping and looking around. It's a very nice area of Lima. We're there probably about an hour and a half, and we watched 15 to 20 paragliders floating around, which was kind of pretty to watch. The weather was really quite cool, and I was glad that I had a jacket, and we found a place to have lunch, and then we headed back to the hotel. We spent the rest of the afternoon repacking in preparation for the Galapagos Islands. Now we can shed the jackets and umbrellas for snorkeling and swim gear. At 3 o'clock this morning, we received a wake-up call from the front desk, and originally planned time was for 6 o'clock, so after laying there for a while, Sharon thought she heard somebody's shower running, and so decided that we needed to check further. So I finally got up and trundled downstairs to the front desk, and after much checking, they decided that there had been a small error on their part, and our wake-up time was still to be 6 o'clock. Oopsie! At 5:30, our alarm finally went off for real. Bags out at 6:30, and we're off to the airport at 7. We're leaving Peru and headed for Ecuador. At 1 o'clock, we arrived in the city of Quito, the capital of Ecuador. The elevation here is about 9,200 feet, and there are 1.5 million people in the city area. The weather was extremely nice when we got there, very comfortable, probably in the mid-70s, and a nice bright sunshine, so it was a very nice afternoon. In general, we noticed a significant difference between just the appearance of the city and the people and the vehicles and everything else, and that Quito was a much nicer, cleaner, and looked to be a much more prosperous city. In the afternoon, we had a city tour, and then finally at 5 o'clock we went to our hotel room and were checked in. We meet at 6:30 for just to go over things and what's going to happen tomorrow. Dinner scheduled at 7:15.
Ukaskiwaj, hamuna ciskaniani, ukaskiwaj. Ukakachauru, ukaskiwaj, hamuna ciskaniani, ukaskiwaj. Pambacanya kenya kaspi, hamuna ciskaniani, ukaskiwaj. Tatana mamanaka, hamuna ciskaniani, ukaskiwaj. Tatana mamanaka, ukakachauru, ukaskiwaj. Eso, hermano, eso, compadre. Ukas kiwai Hamuna chiskanyani Ukas kiwai Ukakachauru Ukas kiwai Hamuna chiskanyani Ukas kiwai Pampachanya kenya kaspi Hamuna chiskanyani Ukas kiwai Ta-ta-ta mamanaka Hamuna chiskanyani Ukas kiwai Ta-ta-ta mamanaka Ukakachauru Ukas kiwai Hayaya Pachamama Hina compadre, Hina Vamos a ver Ese bombito Pedrito Ay, 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 compadre
We're up at 5 o'clock this morning. Breakfast is at 5:45. Bags out at 6:15, and we're on the bus at 6:30, headed for the Quito airport. Our flight leaves at 9:15, and we're on our way to Guayaquil and then to San Cristobal Island, which is one of the larger islands in the Galapagos group. We arrive at San Cristobal about 10:30 after losing an hour to the time zone change. We had lunch with a local family, and then after lunch we headed to the dock, and by 2:30 we're back on the Deep Blue and pulled anchor and headed north toward Kicker Island or Foot Island. Kicker Island is approximately 120 meters tall, and it's home to boobies and frigate birds, and we saw lots of frigate birds on our way to the island. It was very interesting. And then we head back to San Cristobal, and we anchor for the evening in Wreck Bay. And then later tonight we will start motoring for the next destination. Shortly after landing in the Galapagos Islands, we met up with Roberto, who was to be our guide for the next several days while we're here, and he helped us get all our bags rounded up and everything, and then we took a small boat out to the Deep Blue, which is the boat that we'll be staying on for a week. And after we kind of got organized a little bit, then we came back onto shore to go to a local home for lunch. A couple points of interest. The Deep Blue, the ship that we're going to be sailing on over this next week, is 93 feet long, has a 24-foot beam, carries 16 passengers and 9 crew. The island where we are anchored for this first night is San Cristobal, also known as Chatham Island. The high point in elevation is 896 feet, and it is 0 degrees 55 minutes south of the equator. We are anchored at Wreck Bay.
Now we are here on the island of San Cristobal. You see, this is the most eastern island of the Galapagos. You know, the big island is San Cristobal, right here. The name of the town is Vaquerizo Moreno Port. You know, Puerto Vaquerizo Moreno. Don't worry about the names, because all the main towns in the Galapagos, they've been named after Ecuadorian ex-presidents. You know, that's why I don't know why they name after these guys. No, they never were good presidents, but they call them. No, they name after the Ecuadorian ex-president. In this town, we have about 7,500 people living in the whole island. Because there is a small town up on the highlands, about 15-minute driving from here to the highlands, somewhere in the middle. You know, somewhere in the middle. As I said yesterday. Because most of the places that we're going to visit, you know, during the next 7 days, you know, next 7 days are in national park areas. There are some rules that you have to know, and please, you have to follow them. Very simple rules, common sense rules, but you have to follow them, okay? For example, the first one. The only thing that you're allowed to take to the visiting places, national park areas, is water. About edible things, drinkable things, only water. You don't take a Coca-Cola to the islands. You don't take a nice juicy apple to the islands. You don't take cookies to the islands, because without knowing, you might be feeding the animals. We don't want that. We want them to get their own food, their own water. Not good cookies or chocolates, small pieces are going to fall on the ground, and the ants are going to feed on that. The lizards are going to come and try to feed on that kind of stuff. So please, only water, okay? Just take on. Besides, your suntan lotion, your films, your hat, your water, all that is fine, but drinkable, to drink or to eat, just water, okay? You follow that? All right. The other one is, in each visiting place, there is a trail, there's a path, and this path is marked with the sticks. One here, one there, one here, one there, painted black and white. You gotta follow the path, you gotta follow the trail. We don't want to open new trails. We don't want to open new paths, at least not now. In the future, I don't know. We might do it in the future, but still, I don't have any information about that. But you know what happens sometimes? The sea lions are right in the middle of the path, sleeping. The boobies are nesting right in the middle of the path, you know? Well, they don't know there's a path there, but we know. You know, we know the trail because it's marked. So what we have to do is walk around, but as soon as possible, get back to the trail, you know? It's not even say, Roberto was right in the middle of the path, so the poor booby is like, because you're walking right on top of it. So you gotta do is walk around, and as soon as possible, get back to the middle, okay? That idea, no? The other one is don't collect anything from the island. We got about 70,000 visitors coming to the Galapagos every year, you know, 65 to 75, so an average 70,000 visitors, and we want to show them what we have. So don't collect shells, don't collect sand, don't collect flowers, don't collect, you know, anything. No? You can take a picture of it, you can hold it, you can look at it, but make sure you put it back, right? You can touch it. That's a nice sea urchin on the beach, you know. It's a nice type of flower or whatever, you know, you want to see, you want to take a picture, but please don't take anything. Don't put it in your pocket, right? So it's important. Don't collect anything from the islands. The other one is, well, you know, you smoke on the island. We're not supposed to smoke on the islands. We had a big fire in 1985, you know, the Sierra Isabela Island, the big island over here, Isabela Island. Because somebody was smoking, left a cigarette, they lighted on the ground, fire that lasted for 2 months. It was with the Canadian government help that we were able to put out that fire. But that was 2 months late. You know, the vegetation was burned, the land turtles were killed, birds were killed, you know, because of the fire. So please, well, again, don't smoke on the island. The other one is that don't get too close to the animals. Okay? Don't get too close to the animals, especially boobies and sea lions. Baby sea lion. You know, baby sea lion, they live pup. You know, they like to play. They're very curious, but they can touch you, but you don't touch them. You know, become very close. It starts to get to your feet, you know, but don't try to grab it. Don't try to hold it. Don't touch it. They are very curious. They are very, I wouldn't say tame. Tame is when you can pet it, you can touch it, no, and that's nice, they're going to turn around. No, they don't like that. They're not used to feel anything, anybody to touch them, okay? So that's why they can get close, but you don't touch them. Also, because sometimes the big male, the big bull, is around the area, and the bull is there to protect the colony. So this is my colony, this is my barking all the time. So that's why, and those sometimes, they get a bit aggressive, you know? So that's why you have to always be careful, look around. Normally they don't do anything, but you know, big male, females around, and when they fight, everybody's around. So please don't get too close to the animals and do not touch them, right? You see? And the last one is that, as you see, there are some tour boats around here. In the whole archipelago, there are about 76 boats, tour boats in the Galapagos, touring the islands. And we are going to see some of the boats on the different islands that we're going to visit this week. So it's important that we have to stay together as a group. We have to stay together as a group, okay? Again, I don't want you to hold hands or anything like that, but I don't want one person to get 1 kilometer ahead or 1 kilometer behind, you know? We're going to have enough time to take pictures, we're going to have enough time to, you know, to relax, to rest, to talk about, you know, whatever we see around. So please, if you have any question, ask. Also, you know yourself better than me. I don't know, you know, because most of the path, whatever, I mean, in Cusco, Machu Picchu, when it gets you there, it got me anyway, was the altitude, you know? I can barely walk and climb those steps. When it gets you here, it's not the walk much, you know, it will be the heat, okay? That will get you tired. That's why you at 8 you're gonna be sleeping. Because you're gonna all day swimming, all day walking, you're gonna be walking, swimming. So it's the heat that will get you more. That's why you gotta drink a lot of water, because we're sweating some. So it's important that you have to be careful with heat. Suntan lotion, hat, and drink water, right? Okay, so what I was saying?
We traveled from San Cristobal out to Kicker Rock, or Foot Rock, because it looks like a shoe. Just kind of a little shakedown cruise, and then we returned back to San Cristobal for dinner in the evening. Last night we motored to Hood Island, or Isla Espanola. It is located 1 degree 22 minutes south of the equator. The highest point on the island is 220 feet. After breakfast this morning, we went on a 3-hour walk around the island. We saw sea lions and Sally Lightfoot crabs and albatross and naftabooties and marine iguanas and a blowhole and baby albatross and obviously sea lions. And after lunch we motored to Gardner Bay for snorkeling. Lots of fish, and many of them very similar to what we had seen on previous trips to the Caribbean.
Then these sea lions, they used to call them Californian sea lions. Now we call them Galapagos sea lions. And the babies are only a few days old. When they are born with the black fur, with the dark fur. As they grow bigger, look at the one behind you, good shape. You can tell that its mother's been feeling okay. With sea lions, we don't have seals. This one that we call it, that we're going to see it, the first seal, but it's actually a sea lion. It's not a true seal, it's a sea lion. I want to tell you the differences between the seals and sea lions. There are differences. So these are the Galapagos sea lions. The baby is about 2 weeks old, let's say, more or less. But they have to stay with the mothers for about 8 months to a year, sometimes longer. They stay for a long time with the mothers. That's why if something happened to the mother, the babies will die. And because when they are 5, 6, 7, they cannot catch the fish for themselves, and they die. So now they're drinking milk, they're nursing. Now until about a year, sometimes they stay longer. Okay, let's walk to the other. It has some pinkish here in the fins, the flippers. So that means it's a brand new baby. They're born with pinkish flippers. Oh, I see, yeah.
Brand new baby.
You see, the mother doesn't help the baby to find her nipple. The baby has to go around the mother's body trying to find the nipple. Sometimes it takes him hours, sometimes it takes a day. You know, and crying and crying and crying. So about, you know, there you go. Four. Normally they have one baby at a time. Sometimes they have two, but not very often. They got twins, but not very often. Normally just one baby. But I've seen females having two babies. They are in the list as an endemic bird of the island. Before, they were just native. But scientists, have seen closing the genes, said, no, these guys are already different from the ones from the mainland. So that's why now we call them the Nazca boobies. Nazca boobies, as you see them, they nest along the rocks, in the shoreline, white bird, all the way around. The blue-footed boobies will be nesting when they're here more inland. And the red-footed boobies will nest in the bushes, in the trees. And that way, they don't compete for the place where to live, where to lay. So you live over there, you over here, you over there. Same place where they feed. Blue-footed boobies feed close to the island. Very close, shallow water. You see them already, right? The Nazca boobies, they go further out between islands. The Nazca boobies. And finally, the red-footed booby, they go to open ocean to feed. No, that's why, again, for the last thing is, blue-footed boobies laid up to 3 eggs. Nazca boobies laid up to 2 eggs. And red-footed boobies, 1 egg. Why? Because the red-footed booby will have to go many times out on the ocean and come back to feed the baby. If he had more babies, it would be too hard. Going all the way out and come back. That's why they only have 1 chick at a time, 1 chick a year. Blue-footed boobies, because they go just right there, just around the corner and come back, around the corner and get the food and come back. So that's why they can feed up to 2 chicks. And these guys also, they only feed 1 chick. They lay 2 eggs, but only 1 survives. See that they have 2 eggs. See it? Yeah.
Was it a mockingbird then? The guys that want water? Mm-hmm.
How about disappear? Oh,
We motored last night starting at 12:30 and finally arrived at our destination at 5:45 this morning. We're now located at Isla Santa Maria, or also known as Floriana Island or Charles Island. We are 1 degree 15 minutes south of the equator. The highest point on this island is 640 feet, and we're anchored on Cormorant Point, which is the northeast corner of the island. We went for a walk this morning and saw sea lions and sea turtles and flamingos and all sorts of different types of wildlife. The vegetation on the island looks to be dead, but in fact is just dormant, waiting for the rainy season, which hopefully comes in December and lasts through April. At that time, all the vegetation becomes very green and with lots of flowers. We're back to the boat by 10:30 and off to do some snorkeling. And again, the snorkeling was very good with lots of fish. After lunch, we went a short distance from Cormorant Point to Post Office Bay, and we toured around the bay in the Zodiac, and we saw sea turtles and again baby sea lions, a couple of them as young as a day old. And then we went to shore and visited the post office barrel, and I picked up a card that was mailed by a gentleman actually just the day before we got there, and its destination was close to our home, and so I took that and would deliver it as soon as I got home. We left 2 cards, one for our son, one for our daughter, in the hopes that someday somebody would pick those cards up and deliver them to them. Anyway, we're back on the boat about 4:30 and let's get a shower and ready for the briefing at 6:30.
Here, this is where I'm stepping right here. Well, there's the one over there. Okay, what I was saying before is that the blue-footed boobies lay up to 3 eggs, but once the second egg hatches, they don't take care of the third one. Once in 2,000 times, that third one hatches. The third egg, they got 3 chicks. 1 in 2,000 times, 3,000 times, the 3 will survive. 1 in 1,000 times, the second will survive. And 1 in 50 times, the one survives. No, there's always the chances that they might die when they are little ones. The eggs are laid 5 days apart. So that means always going to be a bigger chick and a smaller chick. They grow very big in a few days. So the bigger one, that's not the big, the older one is going to grow bigger. The mother's going to feed them, and the parent, the father, both feed the babies, grow big. And then, if there is not enough food in the water, like it normally happens, or the parents don't bring enough food to feed the babies, the chicks, the bigger chick try to kill the first one. The second chick will pick him on the head, all blood. And he will try to get him out because it's actually a ring of guano. It's round a ring, and there's a depression in the middle. Get him out of the ring of guano. Once he's out of the ring of guano, then the parent, they're watching the whole thing what's going on down there, won't feed him anymore. Won't allow the chick to get back in the middle. This time, the fox comes and easy prey, eat it, get away. But remember that there's no feelings about, no, this is my second chick, no, poor baby, no. That's it. There's no feeling about. What is important is at least one survives. What is important is that I have passed my genes to the next generation. What's important that I have eggs. That's why, for example, turtles lay 200 eggs, up to 200, because at least 1 or 2 out of the 200 are going to make it. Because they lay more eggs, so there'll be better chances for at least 1 or 2 to survive. That's how nature makes things. Control things. Colostrum or the Sally Lightfoot crabs, you know the colostrum, the one in the bottom? This is from a male. Female has round and white, you know, where she keeps the eggs. Then she deposits the eggs in a shallow pool where start to grow as larvae and then grow bigger and turn into crabs. Well, you know, they had to share the shells to grow bigger. You heard about the soft-shelled crabs, right? And then, so when they shed the shell, they throw foam all the way around, you know, little oily foam through all the joints, everywhere, to make it easier to get out of the old shell. And then they leave the top part of the shell, they lift it like that. No, it opens, it's open. And then they start to come out one leg at a time, like you're getting out of the wetsuit, you know, one leg. Well, that's why they call him Sally Lightfoot crab. Also they said it's like a stripper taking off and she was a Caribbean dancer. Sally Light was a Caribbean dancer. I'm like, no, that's why every time they shell, they shell the... Yeah, true. Yeah, I should believe.
This is the post office box at Post Office Bay. This was established in 1793 and was to facilitate the, helping deliver letters to Europe and the United States by whalers and others who are trying to stay in touch with their families. They left letters behind, and then other sailors would come by and pick them up and take them with them. Today we went through the barrel and found a postcard from a gentleman that was actually mailing it to somebody in Beaverton, so I snagged that one and delivered it to the young man as soon as we got home. And we dropped off a couple cards ourselves, one for our daughter and one for our son, hopefully to be delivered sometime to them. We sailed last night at 1:30 and arrived at Isla Santa Cruz this morning at 5:30. The island is 864 feet tall. We are 0 degrees 30 minutes south of the equator. Today we go into a town and visit a national park, actually, which is Charles Darwin Station. And we spent about 3 hours there looking at land tortoises and iguanas and all sorts of stuff. And then in the afternoon we went and drove out to a different location in the island and had lunch. And then we visited a sinkhole. We saw land tortoises, wild, and just had a great afternoon looking around at a whole bunch of different things. We got back to Port Aurora at 5:30 and onto the ship at 6:15, and our briefing this evening was at 6:45, dinner's at 7:15, and we hit the sack at almost 9 o'clock.
We have two different species of cactus. Remember, we have three. The Prickipero puntia cactus, the candelabra cactus, and we're going to see the lava cactus one of these days. The cactus, they live around about 60-65 years. In 1930 to this New York Zoo, or a zoo in New York somewhere. And that in 1951 was taken from New York to San Diego. And then in 1972 was taken from San Diego to Galapagos, and brought here to Galapagos. So York, when it was taken to New York, was the little baby. Let's say it was about 15 years. So 30 to 74, about 90 years old. Diego is approximately 90 years old. Give or take 100 years.
Yeah, the horse.
You in on Española Island, where we were walking back already, was all dry. I said, these are the Cordia lutea. Someday we will see them with flowers and fruits. This is the one. This is the Cordia lutea that are on Española Island. Those shrubs are all dry. But here you can see, because there's some mist, there's some rain, they have flowers and they have some fruits.
This large sinkhole is 360 feet long, 280 feet wide, and 240 feet deep. This little bird is called a vermilion flycatcher, and very, very pretty, but this was a long shot with a 300 millimeter lens, and very difficult to get, and no time at all to set anything up because he was kind of flitting around from here to there. This picture was taken about a half a mile from the sinkhole on the leeward side of the island, and everything there was so lush and green, and here it's all dried out waiting for the seasonal rains, hopefully coming within a month. This is the barn owl. It was right at the entrance to the lava tunnel.
Here in Santa Cruz, there are many lava tunnels. Okay, how the lava tunnels are formed? Imagine that there's a volcano, there's lava coming out of the volcano, like a river of lava, very, very liquid lava, very hot lava, not the viscous one, not the very slow lava going down the volcano. A big, imagine this is the size of the lava flow. Look at the size. Look at how much lava must have come from the volcano at one time. So you're going all the way down, not all the way down to the ocean, like a river. But the temperature of the lava when it comes out is about 1,100 degrees Celsius. It's very hot. Okay, so the lava comes down to the ocean, and the outer part of the lava flow cools down first. The cooler air outside and the hot lava. The outer part, just the crust of the lava flow, cools down first, and the lava keeps running in the middle, keeps moving in the middle of this crust already that been formed. And then the lava stops coming out from the volcano. The eruption stops. So, and then the lava, because it keeps coming, not running down in the middle, is leaving behind a hollow place, a hollow tunnel. It's leaving behind this tube right here. No, and don't shh. So because again, the outer part cools down first. And then new lava flows use old tunnels to get down to the ocean. No, another eruption next year, no, years later, no, it got all the way down to the ocean. That's why in some part we see a big tunnel with smaller tunnels in the middle. You know, this is a medium-sized tunnel. How high is this? 20 meters? 20 feet. About 60 feet. About 50, 60 feet high. They are 100 feet diameter tunnels. So they are very big, huge tunnels. So that's one way how they form tunnels. The other way how the tunnels are formed is when the magma is underneath and there's gas trying to escape to the surface and they go through the magma, you know, making a hole through the magma, through the lava. Magma is when it's inside, you know that, and lava when it's outside. So the gas trap underneath shoots up, you know, trying to escape to the surface through the magma, leaving a hole in the middle. That's another way how lava tunnels are formed. But this one here in Galapagos, that I know, there are 50, 60, or no, lava tunnels in Galapagos. Small ones, big ones, no, and they run all the way down to the ocean, by the way. Just happened that along the way, many parts have collapsed. So that's why we can, you know, come in and get out, you know, come in and get out along the way. And scientists have found life at the end of the tunnel, close to the ocean. Close to the ocean, they found blind fish, blind insects, cucarachas, white cucarachas. No, cucarachas, white ones with the long whiskers. Blind insects with the long whiskers to fill the barrel to fill the food and eat it. They found that in some places. No, close where the water filters inside the lava tunnel. Okay, we'll walk just a little bit more.
After motoring during the night, we arrived this morning at 6 o'clock at Rabida Island, also known as Isla Beagle or Jervis Island. We are 0 degrees 25 minutes south of the equator. The high point on the island is 340 feet. We went on land at 7:45 this morning and had about a 2-hour walk looking at much of the same wildlife that we've been seeing, but to that we added the Galapagos hawk, which we had not seen before, and then a type of fish which is called a yellowtail mullet. And then we went snorkeling off the beach, but it wasn't anywhere near as good as what we'd seen the other day at Devil's Crown. After lunch we motored to Isla Santiago and James Bay. We are now located at 0 degrees 11 minutes south of the equator. Again, we went ashore and looked at Sally Lightfoot crabs and tide pools and marine iguanas and lava flows and very, very many interesting things. We got back on the ship about 5 o'clock this afternoon, and we all went to the top deck, and then we viewed or motored around James Bay and got a view of Monk Rock. The briefing tonight is 6:30, dinner's at 7, and we're in bed by 8:45. Tonight we are motoring to Bartolome Island. Roberto estimated that this little sea lion had been born within the last 2 hours. It still had the umbilical cord attached. If you look real hard, you can see a school of fish kind of swarming near the surface, and these are called yellowtail mullets.
Island is being eroded. Look at that. Different stratas of volcanic ash. Look at the hole over there. And also the way that part of the island is pointed that way. Why is that? Because of the wind, prevailing winds coming from one side only, not really that, and eroding in that shape. Because of the prevailing winds coming from the southeast. That's why it is like that. That's why this island is being eroded more on this side than the other side. You feel that it's coming from the south somewhere over here. Okay, this the wind. That's why this part of the island is eroded like that. Okay, let's walk this way, please. Be careful.
So that's the male.
The other side is that black lava field, the lava flow. We can tell that it's few hundreds of years old. It's not too old because it's still black. Because it will take about 1,000 years for some vegetation to grow in that lava. So, but also you can see that the black lava went around that vegetation. They left a patch of vegetation, so it didn't cover it, didn't burn it. Well, that's what the scientists say, that, you know, take about 1,000 years for us to see some vegetation growing in it. And the first plants that grow there is the lava cactus. We haven't seen that yet. We'll see it tomorrow. But they grow almost in this type of lava. And there's the lava cactus, the one that will help to erode the lava and make it easy for all the plants to establish there. In this case, will be faster, and they will be, you know, it will be faster because there's a lot of vegetation around the lava field. So it doesn't have to come all the way from the mainland, you know, to establish there. You see, it's a lot of vegetation just around, so maybe in a couple of 1,000 years will be almost very similar to the rest of the lava around, which is to the rest of the vegetation that's around.
If you do one more, you're going to be out of your quota. So hold it for tomorrow.
Okay, I'll tomorrow. Right here in the front.
Sit next to us. Don't forget.
Natural formation.
Yeah, you split down the side.
You're going to get closer. You see that it looks like a crazy monk, you know, with the big hood, it's spraying. One right here. You see the first burst dropping, coming from the left? Right there. Go all the way up. That's the rock that we call in the monk. This is the Buccaneers Bay Cove. Yeah, look at the sun reflecting in the rock.
That's important.
This morning we wake up at Bartolome Island after sailing most of the evening. The island is 0 degrees 15 minutes south of the equator and has the highest point is 350 feet high. We have a dry landing this morning and we actually get to hike to the top of the island. In geological terms, it's a fairly young island and there's hardly any growth of any life at all on the island. It's very much like a brand new volcano. The only live thing I did see was some different plants and a lava cactus and a lava lizard, and that was the extent of life on the island. We hiked to the top and then back down again, and then after that we got to go snorkeling in the bay right around Pinnacle Rock, which was quite a thrill, and I did get to see some sea lions swimming with me and also some sharks, which was kind of fun. After lunch we sailed for Seymour Island, which is just north of Isle Baltra, and it's a very low-lying island because it was a result of an uplift in the and the island lies in the leeward side of Santa Cruz Island, which blocks any or at least most rain that they might get, and so it is very, very dry and pretty desolate island. Not a whole lot going on there either, but we did see some wildlife and had an interesting discussions and just looks at the island. We're back on the boat at 5:45, briefing at 6:30, and dinner at 7.
Santiago. Over here we have our famous rock of Pinnacle Rock. Pinnacle Rock is standing up. Pinnacle Rock, by the way, is part of a crater. Whatever is left of a crater. The right side of Pinnacle Rock is under sea level, is gone, is eroded. So, but to the left side you can still see part of the rim, the top part. See, it's only half of it. Right now we are also in the rim of a crater. You see the roundness of the bay. You can see all that, the roundness of the bay. And you look carefully, there is a sunken crater right here. See part of it? And then when the tide goes out, there's a rock sticking out of the water. That was the plaque. That was where the lava came out. See right over there. Bartolome, ¿qué fue? Bartolome is a parasite crater. It's a satellite island of the big island of Santiago. You see, every time the lava, in the middle, the main volcano is blocked up with lava, rocks. So the pressure from underneath cannot come through the main hole. But there are some roots that go to the sides, to the flanks of the major volcano, making new craters, new explosions, forming sometimes just little small craters, sometimes big craters like Bartolome. They form an island. So that's why we call it a satellite island, because it's fed by the main vent of Santiago Island. Satellite or parasite crater, as they call it. You can see there's not much vegetation here on this island because most is volcanic ash. Any rain, any mist that falls here, it will filter down quickly because this type of volcanic ash is very porous. But you can see we have a plant over here that we call it Camasacia. It's a little plant that take advantage of the early morning condensation, cool, nice, warm air, warm days. So right there in the middle, somewhere, they get this water from the air, and that's how they survive. So there are only few plants. There's another one over there that we call a tequila plant. Tequila, not tequila. Tequila plant, and it's a great plant because that color helps to deflect the sunlight on the bottom part of the plant can keep some moisture still. That's Gamaceae, sorry, that's tequila plant. And the green plant is and that you see the reason why they built this step. So actually this ramp right here is new. It's only about 3 years old, 3 years old. And the reason why they built it because in that way we don't help to erode the island more than the natural way. And the steps all the way to see the people already climbing the steps up there. They've been built at least about 15 years ago. That was built 15 years ago. Because this type of formation, we've been talking about that almost every day. Volcanic ash get erode very easy. You can see the lava flows, the little lava tubes, little lava tunnels coming all the way from the top. Just happened that the roof, the top part of the lava tunnel have collapsed, so that's why we can see in the middle. And then they go all the way underneath here and end up in the ocean. And then when it touches the ocean, it gets very explosive. It's a drastic change of temperature, 1,000 degrees Celsius, and the water 50, 60 degrees, because sometimes it boils. And that, so that's why it gets very explosive and starts to throw the lava into the sky. And another thing I want you to see that the tequila plant, the plant here grows only up to a certain height, because higher than that it gets very windy. So it doesn't let the roots, to hold tight to the ground and grow there. So that's why it only grows up to a certain height. Because we are facing the wet side, the erosion happens on the east side more than this side. So that means that all the soil, all the erosion of the rocks from the other side falls down on this side of the island, and most of it goes to the ocean. Most of this dust and erosion gets into the ocean. So that means that while one part of the island is getting eroded, the ocean is building up another mountain. That's how continents being formed, but that would take billions of years or hundreds of millions of years. That takes a lot of time. Look at these big rocks here. It's lots of rocks that we call them bombs. The bombs, they've been thrown into the sky. The bigger they are, the closer to the bend. The smaller they are, the farther out from the bend. And of course, again, the lighter ones, they drifted with the wind, and they fall somewhere else. But this is 160 meters high, so it's about 160, 480, 500 feet high, this crater, this volcano. Even though Bartolome looks young, it's not that young. Just happened that, what you see is few thousand years old, 7,000, 8,000 years old. So that's young, but still, this island, there was the same island, but it was here before. It just happened that this is a very new formation on top of the old formation. Yeah. By the way, to finish this, look at those small green trees up there. See it? Along the flanks right there. Well, that's another subspecies of Escalacea. We've seen 3. One on Floriana, one around the sinkholes, and this is the third one. Look at it. Cousins. Not very close cousins, and still they grow in different environments. Oh, you haven't seen it yet. Is the lava cactus. You see, we have 3 different species of cactus in the Galapagos: prickly pear, candelabra, and this is the lava cactus. You can tell very easily why they call it lava cactus. And the yellow spines are this year growth, and the gray spines these are old growth. You see, they just need a little bit of soil, a little bit of water, somehow moisture probably, and then they grow, they germinate.
Lava cactus.
Lava cactus. It has small flowers when they bloom, but they only open early in the morning, so they don't get desiccated, they don't get hot. So early in the morning when they bloom, you can see that when they die, they become organic soil to make it easier for other plants to establish.
Is this as big as they get?
So this is our famous rock, Pinnacle Rock, and the reason why it's all lots of holes is because when the wind hits the rock, it swirls, it tends to go up, making this little part of a crater right here, this rock. So the main vent is where the lava came out at one point, and up there, look at the rock by the way. This is a rock. Shaped lava. When the lava flows from the top of the volcano. Remember that we saw the black volcano over there? No, it starts to move toward the ocean. The top part of the lava flow cools down first, not the thin layer on top of the lava flow. But underneath, the lava starts running. Remember that? Well, as it cools, it starts to grow little by little. Okay? It starts to get close to gas. And so then the hot lava underneath makes the thin layer on top curl. As it crawls, start to curl at the same time, giving this rock-shaped lava. Because there's still some gas inside underneath of the lava, this gas will try to escape to the surface and will break the lava. And this becomes a sharp lava that will be a lava. That's how this lava they nest together and they fight. They go for a nest and they fight and they pinch the pouch or each other's pouch and the air comes out. And it will heal. It's a membrane full of the rest of what is red because it's full of blood vessels. That's full of that, and they draw blood because again that's what is red. So the excitement make it to blow bigger, and they have like a valve that keep the air inside the pouch. And then when they are not too excited, they are relaxed, the pouch goes down. There are three different species of snakes, Galapagos snakes. They are endemic to the island. There's a good size, by the way. They are much smaller, thinner, but they are very good, see?
Gone.
Galapagos snakes, yeah.
Are there any poisonous snakes on the island?
No, they're no poisonous snakes. These are the constrictor snakes. They want to crack the bones of the lava lizards, and they eat lava lizards.
Is that what the snakes eat?
Yeah, that's what they eat. Right, they can catch this, not on this island, not here on North Seymour, but on most of the island. We only have two endemic land mammals to the island. One is the rice rat. It's a very tiny, small rat. Looks like a mouse, but it actually is a rat. It belongs to the rat family. And the other one is one species of bat. We do have bats, but the $5 months after the hatch, the egg hatches, They sit there for 5 long months, just like the albatross. 5 long months, just thinking about the future. We'll see in the well, and that it takes them a long time. By any chance, the chick falls on the ground, that's it. The parents won't feed them on the ground. And they cannot fly, they cannot walk, so that's it for that bird.
They can't walk.
They don't walk. They got very short legs with claws. It's good for grip, for grab the branches, but it's not good for walk. They got very, very short legs. But all of them are juvenile, and the juveniles more or less are on the right side, and I can see just one, chick still, baby, on the left side.
Can we go closer or not?
We're going to see them closer somewhere over here. Spanish word for bobo. Remember, bobo means clumsy, clown. They say you can walk by them and they don't move. That's what the book said. The Michael Jackson book says that. The ones on the boat, the natural history of the islands. Said booby after the Spanish word for bobo. Clumsy, clown. They don't move, they stay there. Mating season, the blue-footed boobies mating season. There are lots of boobies here for the guano in the rock. But for example, this is a blue-footed boobies nest, and behind over there is another one, and so on and so on. They nest. They prefer flat islands like North Seymour, but not hundreds of boobies everywhere.
So they're on the floor.
They don't build most of a nest. Just a depression in the middle. It's a depression in the middle, and a ring of guano. And squirt the guano all the way around, make it nice and round. That's the nest. And the chicks have to stay in the middle of the nest. If they get out of the nest, they won't be allowed to get back into the middle, and the frigates will come and eat it, or the Galapagos hawk, or the parents, or the sons will cook it within a few minutes. But they're still coming back to the parents' nest for another 3 months, because for them it's very hard, difficult to learn how to catch the fish. So they try, but they don't get food, go back to the parents' nest, the parents feed them, and then until they're able to catch the fish for themselves. So 3 months trying. That's why was one of the reasons why, even though the frigate birds don't partner for life, but they stay together so much time, so many months together, that they end up meeting the next year. See, 2 months, that's 55 days for the incubation of the one egg. Incubate one egg, both parents. 5 months in the nest. That's 7. 3 months, still feeding the young frigate. That'll be 10 months. So and there's already time for mate again. It's okay, let's try it again. 10 months together. Okay, so I got 10 months, another time.
So they
After laying at anchor all night, we finally pulled anchor this morning at 5:30 and headed south along the shore of Baltra and Santa Cruz to islands to Isla Plaza. We arrived there at roughly 6 o'clock, and we had breakfast at 6:30 this morning. Dry landing at 7:15. This island is extremely dry. They have had no significant rain at all for over 2 years, and so the iguanas and much of the wildlife is having a very difficult time, as well as obviously the vegetation. The iguanas feed primarily on the big pads of the cactus plants, and since those plants aren't doing very well, then the iguanas aren't either. We saw several that had died. We're back at the boat by 9:15, and we head for Santa Fe Island for our last snorkeling trip. and it turned out to be a good one. We had a lot of sea lions and sea tortoises and stuff in the water with us, and it was a lot of fun. This afternoon we were on Santa Fe Island and saw huge cactus plants that grow to be 65 years old. Again, we're in a very, very dry area, and so much of this vegetation and wildlife is having a difficult time. We leave Santa Fe Island at 3:15 and we're headed back to San Cristobal Island, where we started our trip over a week ago. We get back there at 7 o'clock and have our briefing at 7 o'clock and dinner and in the wreck by about 9.
By seeing this cactus, we can tell this is a young cactus. Still has the spines along the trunk. So the iguanas, the tortoises, where they were here, not anymore, they're already extinct, now could not eat them. So I look at this, look over here, they're dying, they're giving the cactus a time, it's very dry. See up here, over here, so look at it, see, it's getting dry. So the water, or the moisture doesn't come all the way to the top of the cactus, but still have some energies to have a new growth.
Roberto, this is one flower.
Today we're headed back to the mainland for the last segment of our trip, the Ecuadorian highlands. We get off the ship this morning first thing and we visit a Galapagos visitor center on San Cristobal Island, and then we head for the airport and fly from San Cristobal Airport to Baltra Island Airport, and then to Guayaquil, and then to Quito, and we arrive there at 5:15. We get our bags, we met our new trip leader Isabel, and we head back to the Hotel Quito where we had stayed before. It's 6:25 by the time we get to our room. Dinner's at 7 o'clock.
See, this is a touristic map, it's not in scale or anything like that, but it's very nice. So last Monday we started from here, Puerto Vaquerizo Moreno, where we are right now, here at the airport. And then that afternoon we went to Quique Rock, León Dormido. We call it a sleeping lion, by the way, that's a local name. Quique Rock because they say it looks like a foot, remember? And then from here we went to Español Island, Suarez Point in the morning, and Garner's Bay in the afternoon. Suarez Point, the Albatross, the Robo, and what else? The Nazca movies. And then from here we went to Floriana Island, Cormorant Point, the flamingo, the citrus nest. And then in the afternoon we went to the post office barrel, We left the mail there. And then we went to Santa Cruz. In the morning we went to the Charles Darwin station to see George and Diego. And then in the afternoon we went to the Simhoff, Gemelos, the twins, very close to each other. So the Vermilion flycatcher. Then we went to see the land tortoises and the lava tunnel. Then we went around this way to Rabida Island, Red Beach. And then we went around to Egas Port, Puerto Egas, James Bay, Four Seal lava pools, and we walked along the shoreline. Then we went all the way around to Bartolome. So penguins there, the last three penguins there. We saw Pinnacle Rock, we climbed to the top of the volcano. And then from that Bartolome we went to North Seymour before yesterday afternoon. Seymour, we saw the frigate bird with the red couch. And from here we went to Plaza Island yesterday morning. Remember Plaza Island, so the skinny iguanas. Then Santa Fe yesterday, so the turtle in the water and sharks. And then back here to San Cristobal Island. See, we have visited 9 islands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 islands. 10 islands yesterday. See, but there are 125 visiting places in the Galapagos. So that means that you will need more time, more time to cover all those places. So we still have some visiting places along the west side of Isabela Island. Some couple of places here on Fernandina. They got